Hi viewers, we welcome you all to this a new chapter which is started by Taala Studios, a show called Speak My Life. As we start this show, we have the guest of the day, Father Ranjith OFM, who is very energetic, good in heart and ready to do service for people. Father Ranjith OFM joined the Franciscan order in 2003, entered novitiate at 2007 in Palmana, received final vows in the year 2013, and ordained on 29th December 2015. Being priest, worked in mission parishes in Kurnool district, Andhra Pradesh for 5 years. At presently, he is in Bangalore Provincialate House preparing for his future assignment. So without further ado, let me welcome the guest for the day, Father Ranjith OFM. We welcome you, Father.
Thank you, Stanley.
Father, as we start the show, I just wanted to ask one question. We have many things which is happening now in COVID pandemic times. What would you say to people, especially for the Catholic life, during the pandemic times?
This pandemic or COVID is not just restricted to a Catholic life. COVID, as we say, it is not at all biased towards anybody.
Yes.
So, as the government has passed very many rules and regulations to be followed by the citizens, we all together, we have to take care first of all and wear mask and be cautious because we alone do not exist. There are people around us.
Yes.
So, and Catholic, we very many times when we are little away from the church, we tend to lose our faith. Yeah, and now we are addicted to our YouTube's channels or TV or shows, different shows like faith activities or masses going on in TV very well. It's good that we are trying our best to be closer to God. But still, we need to keep the faith that which we have and to not lose faith, trust and confidence in God that better days to come. Let us pray and hope that good Lord may give us the better future, not only for us, for the younger ones too.
Thank you, Father, for that words. So, Father, as we get into the show, I wanted to segregate my questions in 3 different levels: your school life, your youth life, and your priest life. Okay. So, when I come to the school life, can you just tell me how the school days were for you, and what is that one naughtiness you did during your school days which you can't forget till today?
In my school days, it goes long way back in the year maybe 93, 94, I think so.
Okay.
When I was in the second or third standard. You know, one thing, my auntie was a teacher in the same school and we were staying together. Most of the things I used to learn at home, and what I used to do in the school after going to school is I used to do very many naughty things there. I used to hang around or used to go walk out of the class, and there were times even I was beating my friends very often. So the school days were really enjoyable days, and always I used to admire at priests, whoever was a principal. I used to very often go meet them. Purpose, I do not know what was the purpose, but I very often used to spend a lot of time with priests there. Even after my school, just next to the school was my house. So I used to spend a lot of time with the priests there, just helping them or whatever the way I can, whatever the way that I could. So that was also an inspiration and motivation for me to be here today maybe.
Thank you, Father. Yes, that's a very inspiring thing. And second question is, during your school days, okay, and how did you deal with these difficult times if you had? Okay, most of us will have difficult times during our school times. Maybe a problem with the teacher. If you don't study properly, of course, the teacher calls your parent. Is there any incident which happened like that? That teacher told you, call your parents and come, we want to talk to them.
Oh, yeah. When I was in 7th standard, I think I remember, I was in hostel at that time. My parents had come to see me one of the Saturdays. Monthly once they were supposed to come. One of the Saturdays they had come to see me. So my mother told our PTC master in the school, who was also staying with us in the hostel. So, sir, please take care of him. He is not doing well in especially I was not very good at mathematics and also science. So he was very strict towards me, and he was asking me to spend extra time in study, and I was also dealt little harsh way or a strict way. So I couldn't bear that. So one day, what I did was I ran away from the hostel.
Okay.
Then after 2 days, I phoned up to my father, and they brought me back. Those were the days. It was hard, but now if I look back, oh, I did such a thing. I myself couldn't imagine.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And my next question is, maybe I think you joined your, the OFM congregation after your 10th or the PU. Okay, I know most of us will decide after 10th or the second PU, we decide to join the congregation. We decide to become a priest. What motivated you in during these times? Because I know it's very difficult to leave a family back, going to the entering the congregation there, because you're all alone, everything is new, you're new people around. How did you face that during those days?
Most of the time during my school days I spent in hostel, or each time it is new to me. So I joined after my 10th standard in the seminary, as I said, in the year 2003. So I didn't find being homesick or much difficulty, being everything new here and so on. So my motivation was always clear that I wanted to uh, become a priest. I didn't know before in a school. I didn't know, be it a Franciscan or a diocesan or whichever the religious congregation or the order. I didn't know which congregation to join. But you see, my motivation was clear. And honestly speaking, till today, I never got a thought that in my formation days or now, that to return back or look back. Something which motivates me all the time is the Spirit of God, I believe, and also the people with whom I work. They always motivate me wherever I go. I take inspiration from the place or the people with whom I work. That's what keeps me going every time.
Thank you, Father. Now, moving on to the next question. I know it's very challenging for you, maybe. When we look to the priest life, okay, when you're doing your studies, especially when you're doing your philosophy, theology, and you shift from one place to another. You move from Assam again back to Kerala and again back to Bangalore. So you shift your places, okay.
Yes.
And how did you adjust with those places? Because you go to the next state and everything is new again. It's an again new chapter for you. How did you face those challenges during when you wanted to shift your studies to another place?
Yeah, in the year 2004, I was promoted to Madurai for my plus one, plus two studies. So, first 1 month, 2 months, I was really finding it very difficult because of the language, one. Secondly, it is because of the culture and the food habits, everything. I was really finding it difficult. But even at that time, I never thought of going back. But I always spoke to my rector, saying that my superiors, saying that, yeah, it is becoming difficult, and I'm not able to concentrate on studies, whatever. Then he only kept on motivating us, not only me. Many of us felt in my batch the same, but he always kept motivating us. It's a matter of time that you get adjusted. And now I look back and say, those were the beautiful and the memorable days that I had in Madurai, in Tamil Nadu. And also, I remember during my philosophy days, one incident I can narrate to you. I did my philosophy here in Bangalore.
Okay.
For 3 years I was here. And every year we were going for a exposure. The term exposure, we call it because it's a exposure for us in various places. I was sent to Chennai. So we had certain priest. When I reached Chennai, I was there that evening. Next day morning, he said, "Come, take your bag." I took my bag, sat on his bike. "Come, we'll go to a place," he said. He took me to a place. in Chennai. I think you all know the place Attipet.
Okay.
It's a place where tsunami victims were given a place, built houses by the friars, and it's a colony, small colony, and they live on their daily labor. So he took me to that particular village, outskirts of Chennai. Then he took me to the place. He said, "Okay, this is the room that you're going to stay, and this is the place. Okay, I'm leaving. That's all.
Okay.
I'm leaving." Then I entered the room. No light, everywhere cobweb, nothing, no place to, keep my bag, dust and everything. Nothing, no bucket to take bath, no mat to sleep, no bedsheet to sleep, nothing. So I cleaned the room. Then I went around. They knew a brother has come. People knew because very often they get brothers like this. So I went around. One person gave me a bucket and mug. One family gave me a bed sheet. One family gave me a mat. So I went out. I had little money. Bought one light, fixed a light, and started staying. I didn't know next day what to do here. Then I went to the people and asked, "What do you do?" They say, "We go to the forest, cut firewood, sell the firewood, and we survive on that." Okay, let me also join you. Next day, early morning, one person comes at 4 o'clock and wakes me. He gives me a blouse and one chopper in the hand. "Come, brother, we'll go." He took me to the forest. So I started cutting firewood, selling the firewood, the wood that I cut, selling the firewood. That's how I survived almost for a month. So these were the memorable incidents that I came across in my life, and I cherish them till today. It is that hard work that kept me alive till today. Alive in the sense, in this field of being a priest and a missionary.
Truly said, Father. Thank you. Father, I just wanted to ask another question. Why OFM to your life?
Why OFM is, I don't have a proper answer for it, but still I can say I never knew an OFM friar in my life earlier, at least till my 10th standard. My aspiration when I came for 9th and 10th class, my motivation all got diverted due to my friend's circle or something. I wanted to join army at that time. And I applied. I got the invitation letter also for the medical test and so they call for.
Okay.
So one day I came back home, I saw my mother crying. Then I asked my sister what happened. She said, "You got letters from army and also navy." She tore the letters and she started crying. She tore both the letters and she sat one corner. My mother started crying. Then I asked my mother. She said, "You want to study? You study. We will help your education. But please don't join army," she said. Nothing wrong in joining army,
Yes.
but village, they have
Yes.
different
True. Yeah.
thoughts and so on about army that we won't come back after we go.
Yes,
They have
yes.
their own fears.
Yes.
That's the only reason. So I said, okay, now what to do? My original intention as a child was
To
to become a priest. But because of my friend's circle, my all thoughts and mind got diverted and I wanted to join army because they are joining. So I said, okay, let me go back to my original plan. Then my auntie took me to a priest, happened to be a Franciscan priest.
Oh,
That's the first time I saw a Franciscan priest in the year 2003 of my 10th result, 10th,
Okay.
10th standard result. So that's how I joined. And I can also say one incident. I went, approached the priest. And that particular year, they were only taking 12
Okay.
candidates per region.
Okay.
They're only taking 12 candidates per region. So I approached him a little bit late. He said, "This year it's full. Maybe you can join after your +2. So what to do? I requested him. My father also was next to me. He also requested him. Okay, let me speak to the superiors over there in Palamner, where the junior aid is. So I'll get back to you, he said. We went back. I got a phone call from the same priest from Hyderabad that evening. Okay, you can come. I was the 13th member who joined the seminary. That year with that batch. And today now proudly I say, I'm the only one left.
Oh, okay. That's a true, the calling of God, what we say. Yes, Father. It's very true. Like, when I see most of the people, like, who want to join in the beginning, but later, we turn back and say, this is not my plate. Yeah, I'm so happy that, you're with us today, sitting in that seat, being a priest. I know how it's proud taking a God's call in your
Yeah, as
life.
the gospel says, no, many are called, few are
Few are
chosen.
chosen. Yes, true.
Yeah.
So, Father, after becoming the priest, okay, what is that one best thing you found yourself? Like, it might be in your life journey, or it might be in your Franciscan journey. Okay. What is that one beautiful thing you saw in yourself after being the OFM priest?
To put it in one word, one beautiful thing that I saw in myself is I'm happy.
True.
I'm
Okay.
always happy. Yeah, difficulties come on our way, but if we hang on to those difficulties, we will not know what to do.
Yes.
God shows us a way always. Likewise, I too faced a lot of difficulties in my work as a priest. Now, this is the sixth year I'm a priest. I worked in a parish for almost 4.5, 5 years now in a mission place. It is not so easy to work in a mission stations, but still, God helped me and the Spirit was traveling always with me. And today I can say in one word, as a priest, I'm happy.
Father, you were in Hyderabad working for a school. Yeah. You were dealing with children
Yes.
lives. Okay. Tell me one thing. What, how did you feel contacting those children at this young age? I know most of us would, most of the children would have been, got impressed, or, put an impression on you that I want to become like Father Ranjith. Yeah. Did you had any incident like that where a child comes up to you and say, I want to become a priest?
Yeah, I coming across such an incident when I was teaching in the school. Yeah. Firstly, I that was my first appointment actually in
Okay.
Hyderabad in 2015, immediately after my ordination. 16, the entire year I was working in the school. I was dealing with fifth and sixth standard children. So it was nice time to be with the children. It is altogether a different kind of exposure and different kind of experience as a priest to me personally. If you when you ask me the question, how did they feel being with you or working with you? See, how did well, the question would be better. How did I feel teaching
Yes.
them? Yeah, I really felt so joyful. And also, when I was teaching them, I was always reminded of my school days also. Because being with the children, we have to be like them.
Yes.
Not childish, but childlike.
Yes, Father. True.
So it was so nice experience. And when I was transferred from that particular school, um, I never expected children to come and give me so many letters and saying, missing you, father. I even carry those letters even today with me.
Okay.
And so much of things that I have written. And some of them still are in touch with me. In the class, we had children from various communities actually. So it was nice being with them. I still cherish those memories too. Uh, Likewise, not only there in my mission field, also later when I came to Kurnool, transferred from there. You know, two children. When I always celebrate Mass, they keep imitating me there, right,
Okay.
sitting right in front of the altar. The way I stand, the way I extend my hand, they start imitating. One day I asked their parents, what are they doing? No, father, they want to become a priest like you. I don't know how I motivated them, but I was living my life happily and content with whatever I have all the time. Be it a teacher in the school, be it a missionary in a small mission parish. It's not a big, small mission parish. I was living the life which I am supposed to live happily and content with whatever I have around.
Yes, Father. True. Yeah. So now, Father, after being a priest, okay, everyone have this question. Even I have this question. When you go to the your own house, like, to see mommy and dad, okay. Now, do they feel that, father is come home, or do they feel my son is come home? Because every time I feel like, they are, extremely treated special. Okay, so when you go back home, how do they treat you?
Oh, there is nothing called treating special. They say, no, if a son is a king of a Delhi, also son is a son to a
Son,
mother and
yes,
father.
yes,
So it was nothing a special treatment. They all never felt that a father is coming. They always felt that my son is coming.
yes.
So I never felt anything special. It was always casual, and mother father love that I share. It was nothing special that I was treated or in the different way, always calling me father or priest or nothing. I am called by my name by my mother, my father, my pet name at home. That's all.
Okay. Yes, Father. Yes. Now, coming to the religious life of a Catholic, okay. So, do you think the spiritual life of a Catholic person is very important, attending Mass in his life?
Yeah, for any person, spiritual life is very important, you see. Because without spiritual life, uh, life becomes very short. Life becomes very short, and life also, our journey becomes blurs at times. We need some accompaniment of God in our life. And that's why, for a Catholic, spiritual life is really very important. At times, depending on the situations, hardships, or the difficulties that come across our life, or family life, or whatever, we tend to lose our faith. But if we look into the Gospels or into the Old Testament, very many examples we have. It could be a testing time of our faith. As we say, every difficulty or every problem really has a solution for it. But we only need to find that. We need to continue our journey to find an answer for it. But rather, what we do, very many of us, is we cut short our life.
True.
We break down. And what we say, no, all that I have done today, till today, all the prayers that I have prayed, God did not answer my prayers. Even just this morning, I was talking to a person. He says he was dealing with a girl regarding some visa problem. And he told the girl, keep praying that everything may go well. I have been praying, but nothing is working. I don't know what to do. So this will be our answer very many times within our mind and within our heart. So what I say is faith should keep moving us. Difficulties come, hardships come, but if we break down, so our life becomes blur. That's why in our formation, our formators always suggest us, saying that you always need to have a spiritual companion with you.
Yes.
Whoever it is, you be a brother in a seminary or a person married outside in a family, whatever it is, you need to have a spiritual companion whom you really can trust and whom you can place your confidence in that person, be it a wife or husband or a brother or sister or a friend or a priest or brother, whatever, whoever it is. We need to have a spiritual companion with us. Otherwise, our journey always goes blur. And there is a tendency that we also may go out of the track.
So yes, Father, like after you become a priest, you were working for a parish. I know you have dealt with lot many youths, especially in our friary, or maybe in Hyderabad when you worked in a school, or maybe in Andhra Pradesh, wherever the parish you worked for. You dealt with a lot of youths. Yeah. So now, usually when we look into the youth's life, right? So they have temptations, one side. Another side, they have a lot of things running in their heads. Okay, should I do that? Should I do this? And finally, they take a step to do, but later they will look into that failures in their lives. Okay, and then later they decide to quit their lives. Now, what do you want to suggest them or those kind of situations, how to overcome those time of temptations or quitting their lives in youth?
You know, as so far as a priest or a deacon, the youth that I have dealt are three different categories and three different mindset and setup altogether. I cannot compare one with the other.
Yes.
Because it's for me especially, it's a different kind of experience with the youth. 3 different groups. One, as a deacon, I was here working in Bangalore, more of an established youth, already formed. The youth is already formed by the earlier priests or brothers or whoever worked here in this parish, and it's a city life, city culture, very good.
Yes.
Because this particular style of this particular way of dealing here, in this particular parish, in this St. Anthony's Friary parish, youth is already established. They know what to do. They know what are the limits. They know how far should I go, and what to do, what not to do. Because the growth was in that particular setup. And fantastic. And I enjoyed my time here. And I learnt very much from here. And later, after getting ordained, what I implemented and what I did was, one, through my formation experience. Secondly, what I learned from here, honestly speaking, I learned a lot as a deacon from here. So, then I moved on to Hyderabad as a priest. After moving on to Hyderabad as a priest, youth, they were also living in a more or less the same setup like Bangalore city setup. It's a cosmopolitan city and a metropolitan city it is. So city setup, and it was fantastic, but a bit scattered,
Yes.
not organized as such. So through the help of the parish priests and the friars there, I took a step further to bring them together firstly, organize them. So we organized about 30, I vaguely remember 32 members, youth group, took a oath, and every month giving a special priority to them of a special mass, that they conduct everything, they take care of the liturgy, everything they do. It was nice experience with them. And there too, the city life, we know, very many temptations and moving around here, there. Sometimes there are people who are focused. There are certain youth who want to be focused, but always get tempted by the other.
Yes.
Always get tempted by the other. The such kind of life is common among youth. But one thing I would like to say is, our life is our life. My life is what I live, and what is my past.
Yes.
As a youth, what we tend to forget is our past.
Yes.
We only focus on what is further, what is our future. Or for example, if today you are sitting with me, or you are doing well, you have a job, and you are okay, well established, very well matured. And here there is one particular person, a youth, who is still finding a job, but he wants to do what you are doing. That is, I feel that's where the thought pattern clashes. And that's where they lose their focus and break down. Later, when they don't achieve what they want or what they see through their eyes, because eyes always tempt us.
Yes.
Isn't it?
True.
Eyes always tempt us. So that's where the youth break down. That's why I would suggest, you are who you are. You have your strength. Don't look or fall on the strength of the other. Other is not your strength. You are your strength. God has given you your talents, whatever you are supposed to have, whatever you are supposed to hold, God has given you. We need to realize and recognize that.
True.
Only then we will not lose our focus. I have seen very many youth who lost their focus, and who are very much matured and behave in a very much matured manner. There's a difference between both of these. In the first group who lost their focus, they also gained back. They also came back to the right fold. And in the same way, vice versa it is. Who are already established and matured, doing well in their life, lost their way and fallen back broke down in their life. But as a youth, we need, first thing, remember your background. Where you come from. What did your parents teach you? And how you are supposed to live. If you forget our background, we will lose everything. We will lose really everything if we forget our background.
Yes.
So, third group I worked in a mission parish. So, there when I came, Nothing was in a proper order, actually, especially regarding youth now. There are youth addicted to many things, drinking, young people just finished their 10th, passed out to the 10th standard, discontinued their studies, and they get into some or the other working in some company or some factory or in the fields or wherever. That's a set of youth. It is not a city. It's completely a village set of youth. So what I found there is they have potentials, but very innocent.
Yes, true.
Why innocent? Till today, they don't have anybody to guide them, motivate them. So once I went there, I took my time to analyze, to study the situation. It took some time for me. It took about 5 to 6 months. Then I slowly organized them. I got about 25, 28 members. Then organized them together. Had election, president. Everything is new for them. President, vice president, treasurer, and program coordinators.
Yeah.
Everything was new for them. So we organized everything. Slowly started to take up few programs. What we did basically in the beginning was we took up few street plays. They didn't know what is street play. So everything had to start from the grassroots level. Everything we had to start from the beginning. Started to take up some street plays on different cause, water problem or education. The place where I worked was, there was a major problem was child marriages. A girl was given in a marriage immediately after her maturity age, like 14, 15 and so on, getting married. These are the causes, like every alternative month or every 3 months we have taken up one program and done. I learnt a lot from them because it is there. I also learned how to write a script for a program also. First time I was writing a script for a program.
Okay.
All these days, wherever I worked, things were established. Only thing was taken little further from there. Here,
Yes.
everything I had to start.
Yes.
So it was nice experience. And in the diocese, later surrounding parishes came to know about it. They were also appreciating us. And after 4 years, when I come back from there, looking back at that situation, I can proudly say, in the youth which never went out of that particular town, they never crossed that particular district, went to another state for a Bible quiz competition and stood second in a Bible quiz competition. I'm very happy to announce this, and I'm very happy to say this.
Yes.
And not only that, in a diocese, whatever the program comes up, first call that particular parish gets, Father, please could you send your youth for so and so program. It's really a proud moment to listen and experience all those things. So now I could say, guiding the youth in a proper channel is one thing, and the youth, the person himself, the boy or the girl, himself or herself, how they take it is another thing. If they take it in a good way, okay, this is for my life, they have a bright future.
Yes.
And if they say, okay, as long as this priest is there, let me do something. If the priest goes, let me go back. That's what has happened also in the same place where I worked. So that should not happen. Focus and the goal should be clear.
Thank you so much, Father, for that wonderful touching words for the youth. I think the people who are saying it, I think they will take some hints of it and they follow in their lives. Thank you so much, Father. Okay, now, Father, we are going to a little fun segment, okay? Now, I don't want you to speak, okay? Now, I want your thumbs up or no, only that, okay? So, I ask you the question and you say yes or no, only that, okay? The first question, have Father Ranjith bunked his classes during his school days?
Can I say the answer for it?
Yes.
There is no chance because I was in a hostel or I was staying with my auntie in a house. There is no other chance because my auntie was going to the same school. I have to go along with her.
Okay.
I was in a hostel. There is no other go.
Yes.
I have to. unless I'm sick.
Okay. Is there any time Father Ranjith is acted being sick during his novitiate time, not going to the chapel and praying? Yes. Okay. The next question: have Father Ranjith has said his rector that, you know, I want to leave the congregation and go back to my life? No. Perfect. The next question, Father. I don't know how to phrase this, but I just try myself. Have Father Ranjit watched his movie or watched a movie in a theater during his priest life? Yes. Okay. So I think viewers, this is just a fun segment, because I feel especially that we treat the fathers, the priests, a very special person, a very gifted person in our families. Definitely these days I don't find more people coming forward to become a priest these days, and I think Father Ranjit is a beautiful example for us. He shared his life experience, how he faced his problems, his temptations, and his steps to come out and to become such a wonderful person like this. And I know how important his life to himself. And thank you so much, Father, for being with us and sharing your life experience with us. I hope the people who are listening maybe definitely will get some hints of your life and just try to follow that. Thank you so much, Father.
And one thing I would like to say,
Yes,
just
Father.
1 or 2 minutes. A priest, as we see daily, day in and day through our lives, priest doesn't fall directly from sky, or God doesn't make a structure of a human person and send, okay, you go through formation and you become priest. No. Priest comes through our families.
Yes.
And that family should be an exemplary for their own children right from their childhood. That's what I experienced. That's how I saw my parents. Even till today, I always, wherever I go, I share this experience. Even till today, when I go home, I sit with my parents, I pray with my parents daily, evening. And I remember, right, as a child also, evening comes, everybody is ready for get ready. Or evening we take bath, everybody is ready. If as a child, if I say I'm hungry, my mother says, without prayer, no food. She was strict to this. She was very strict. But their life also motivated me. Their life played a big impact in my life. That's why a priest comes from nowhere but from the families. Priest is not what God created like. The one who is taken from there and chosen by God and elevated to a consecrated life. And that consecrated life is much more much more precious, I would say. And on my consecration day, I don't know. I was really in a different mood, different world altogether. I know some of you have come for my ordination also. It was really a beautiful moment and beautiful experience. That's why parents should be an exemplary people for their own children. Priest doesn't come directly from God. God doesn't throw one person onto this earth like what we saw in Genesis, no, chapter 1, what we see, God created, God created man from mud. That's what we see. But God doesn't say send one more lump of mud and create in a human structure. This is a priest. No.
Yes.
Comes from among us. And it takes such an amount of time and energy and also expense, I would say, to make a priest. How? Takes 14 years of journey, 13 to 14 years of journey, sometimes even 15, 16 years of journey, giving various types of exposures, various types of education that a priest requires. It takes 14 years to make
One priest.
one priest. So, and that 14 years is always, I would say, is always, as I am here today, a fruit of the exemplary life of my parents.
Yes.
That's where a priest life begins, in the family as a child. So, as for parents, your life always matters. Be it fighting or difficulties in your own family, wife and husband, you may have differences, but think about the life of the child in the family.
Thank you, Father. I think the viewers maybe definitely will, make a decision to send one family member of yours. Maybe it's not only like, what I believe is not only being a priest, not only being a nun, you have to do the God's work. You have many ways to do God's work,
Yes,
and that's what I too believe. And today, as Father said, the priests are not made; it's from our families. Now, let's decide to send one member from our family to this beautiful person, what we have today, to become a priest and calling of God. Thank you so much, viewers. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And please see to that before you go, I want you to subscribe and share the link below. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day ahead.